Hi, I'm Leslie, one half of Book Me Bite Me. We provide fun and inspirational materials for international learners of English to improve their listening, reading, and vocabulary skills. Today, I will share with you my Christmas read, Tales of Belkin by Alexander Pushkin. Alexander Pushkin is a Russian author. The novella that I'll be telling you about today is called The Snowstorm. My one-sentence summary is that this is the story of two fated lovers. Now that's pretty vague, so let's get to the details. You have a well-to-do, almost aristocratic young woman named Maria Gabrielovna. And our other character that we'll be talking about right now is Vladimir Nikolaevich. I've been practicing that all day long and I didn't get it on the first try. So Maria and Vladimir are hopelessly in love with each other. They're young, and it's to the point that her parents have forbidden her from being with Vladimir. However, Vladimir has convinced her that it would be a great idea to elope together. And after a period of time being away from her parents, they could return back and throw themselves at the mercy of her parents. And her parents, being so homesick for her, would forgive them. Now, that was the plan. So Vladimir had coached Maria into packing up some of her things and meeting him, well, not him per se, but meeting a representative of his in a carriage. And all of this took place during the winter time. So she gets some help from her maid or her nanny, whichever, and she packs a few things. She manages to get out of a dinner with her parents, and she goes off on her way to meet him at the church so they could get married. Now Vladimir, he sets off with his horses. He ends up going through a snowstorm. And it's so bad to the point that the way to Maria is blocked and he gets lost. He ends up in a village where he doesn't know anybody. He gets some help from a village man who said, "I will send my son with you to get you to the right place." Now, Vladimir never made it to the church on time. And Maria was what we would say, she was stood up. So that's where that piece of the novella ends. And in the story, Alexander Pushkin takes us back to Maria. Now Maria, we find her at home, or we read about her. Now she's back at home and she's devastated to the point that she's made herself sick. Like, her parents think that she's going to die. Her mother discovers that she was in love with Vladimir. And so her parents get a soft heart and they're like, well, our daughter's not worth dying over this. So let's go find Vladimir and hopefully make it a union. Let's invite him to the house and that he can marry our daughter. Well, Vladimir had enlisted into the army and he said, "I'm never coming back. I'd rather die." Why he said that, I have no idea. So then, bad news for Maria, double bad news. Her father dies, which made her an heiress, and so she and her mother decide to leave all the sad memories from their village aside and go to a new town. So they go to this new town, and she's this hot young thing, and all these guys are interested in Maria. Well, Maria's not interested in them until a young man by the name of Berman catches Maria's interest. Now everyone is like, wow, she's giving the cold shoulder to all these eligible young men except for Berman. So she's entertaining him. Well, eventually she falls in love with him, and she never thought she'd fall in love with anyone ever again. So she thinks, okay, he's going to confess his love for me. Well, Berman ends up at Maria's house one day to do just that, while she's wearing a beautiful white dress and acting very nonchalantly, sitting under a tree reading a book. So he comes to tell her, "Maria, I'm in love with you, hopelessly in love with you." She's very happy and she's about to respond, and then Berman throws a bomb. He says, I'm hopelessly in love with you, except I could never make you my wife because I'm already married to a woman that I cannot remember, whom I've never met, and whom I've never been in touch with. I don't know where she is, but legally I'm married, so I can't make you my wife. Technical error. Well, Maria had a sturdy head on her shoulders, and she said, well, tell me more. This is intriguing. I think most women would have been like, you've wasted my time. How could you do this to me? Goodbye. I never want to see you again. She entertains him, and so he tells his story. The story is that Berman was on leave from the army and got stuck in a snowstorm. He ends up in a village, and the village people help him out of his carriage. When they help him out, they say, hurry, hurry, there's a woman in the church. So Berman enters this church, and he pulls a prank. He decides to marry this woman. So he takes a look at her, and he tells Maria, I took a look at this woman. She wasn't bad looking, and so I decided I'll marry her. After they say I do, and the priest says, it's now time to kiss your bride, the bride takes a look at Berman and starts to scream. It's not him, it's not him, it's not him. And she faints. So Berman continues to tell Maria the story, and he says, you see, I pulled a prank. I could never find the woman again. I don't know what I did, why I did it. I feel badly about it, but legally I'm married. I can't locate this woman. I don't know where the village is. I don't know what to do. We can never be married, but I'm hopelessly in love with you. So Maria turns to Berman and says, that was you? You don't remember me? Look at me. You don't remember me? And then what does Berman do? He looks at her and he falls at her feet and confesses his love for her again. So the clincher in the whole story is that while Vladimir got stuck in that snowstorm and was never able to make it to the church, Maria made it to the church on time, thought she was stood up, and then a man enters the church. She's already in distress, thinking that it's him, says, I do. I mean, it's in the middle of the night during a snowstorm. Who else could have shown up at that time? Then when it's time to kiss, she takes a look and she realizes that it's not Vladimir. So this whole time, she's thinking that she could never be in love again, which is why she was giving all these men the cold shoulder. And then, as you can see, fate brought them together. And I imagine that they lived happily ever after. I highly recommend that you read not only The Snowstorm, but there's so many great short stories in this book, The Tales of Balkan by Alexander Pushkin. Thank you for listening. Until next time, happy reading.